Welcome, everybody, to our December forecast, and a special welcome to all of you Sacred Self Healing members for this monthly special where we discuss the incoming energies and also review to really tune into your future awareness as to what you want your future to look like. Again, just a quick reminder, we're not in the business of fortune telling here. We're reading out collective energies and we're reading out how our energy responds to those. We get so caught up in the doings of our present moment, the busyness of our present moment, that we often forget that what it actually is that we are energizing in this present moment is what we are manifesting, right? And if we don't really have a good feel for this, and I emphasize the word feel, it's very difficult for us to even evaluate and measure if the manifestations that are occurring in our life, if they're working or not. Okay, so as an energy coach, people come to me and say, oh, I've tried this and I've tried that and it isn't working. And upon further investigation, we find out that, not always, but more often than not, that what this person has been energizing is actually coming to play. Okay. The problem is only that this person wasn't aware of what he or she was energizing. And that's why this whole sort of year really was all about making the unconscious conscious so that our manifestations become more conscious, so that our choices become more conscious. And sometimes there are just, sort of natural openings for us to pierce through that veil of reality, that, or whatever that projection of reality is that we are perceiving. The solar eclipse and the winter solstice in the next month are going to be such moments, such natural openings. So whatever is coming in for you right now, if you just spontaneously sort of reflect on your month of November, still has a big significance, not only for how December is going to go for you, so not just your immediate future. And therefore, when I point out these time capsules, as I've often called them before, you are tapping into something greater. And in this case, in December, the whole entire month of December, probably the most complex, most difficult month yet for probably the last 100 years. So this is a significant time, and we will all remember it. This year, a year in which we all got basically stripped of our entitlements, of our taking things for granted, of, being able to plan our trips ahead or whatever. We don't even know if we have our job tomorrow, and this isn't just us. This is like pretty much half of all the populations, okay? We got stripped bare of all this entitlement that we have and all these expectations and projections. And what has it done to us? Has it made us become even more controlling, even more OCD, even more anxious? Or has it led to us becoming more grateful for what we have, more self-reflective, and more aware of what's truly needed, what's truly essential, and which parts of our lives aren't really that important? This is the energy here, the level of reflection that we need to bear in mind when we come into December now. Yes, our ego doesn't like that, and obviously it means to step out of our comfort zone. And in the writings, I often call this being forced to look at, or being forced to step out of our comfort zone. Yeah. So this is what this year did for us. And it was good practice. What does this help us see? As energetically sensitives, we have been knowing this for a long time. We are not singularities here in this life. The fact that we perceive the energies and especially, of course, the emotions and the fears of other people, it's just one more reason for us to work with this duality in us and to balance this out. Because sometimes it really comes down to like, okay, I just need a couple of more hours of sleep. I maybe just need some more water. Maybe I just need to look at the birds, or talk to the flowers or deal with the dog. Okay, these things are all measures that help us to balance our energy. Ultimately, it's neither good nor bad. Collective energies are like weather. Obviously, there's different degrees how it affects us. The closer it is to home, the stronger the impact. So absolutely correct. The collective energies are extremely challenging. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't relieve us of our self-responsibility to balance it, to work with it. So what is this teaching us? It teaches us the importance of discernment. Okay, so knowing what's mine, what isn't. But just knowing that doesn't necessarily change anything yet. We still have to make choices. What am I investing in? What am I energizing? If I energize the fact that other people around me are all mean or all unconscious or all anxious or emotionally projecting, what am I investing in? I'm investing in deflecting the responsibility for my own energy. So yeah, then I also become more dependent and more susceptible to other people's energies. But knowing that is not enough. We have to act on it too. We have to realize that when we've arranged our life in a way where we are surrounded by people, like say, who don't have very good conscious level or integral level, or where some of our choices of the past have created compromises that have started to compromise our own integrity, where we have let down our own values or boundaries and agreed to things that we should have never agreed to because they're now creating resentments in us or guilt, for that matter. And that's when we have to step up and realize, okay, it's us who has to follow that impulse from within to be the most authentic and truest that we can be to ourselves. We cannot make others responsible for that. If it's the people, if it's the place or the job or the relationship, whatever it is that we're finding ourselves in, then we need to evaluate if we want to walk out. If it is larger than that, if it is something that we are now more and more encountering through the times that we are in right now, such as our societies and the values in our society, the consciousness and integrity in our society, and our planetary awareness and all that. That requires a whole new level of awareness. And this is where December then will come in, because it's going to show this to us. To recognize, okay, there's stuff that is happening on the outside and that's clearly affecting me. But what is the position that I'm in? Am I in a position where I'm highly susceptible and dependent on these external factors? Or am I in a position where I am free, or at least sort of have higher degrees of freedom? Do I have a choice or do I not have a choice? Obviously, we can always talk in those spiritual ways and say, well, we always have a choice. Of course we do. But, we're not aware of this until we realize that we are the co-creator of our reality. So the reason why people feel, and this is very real, they don't have a choice is because they're holding on to a certain reality or a projection thereof. And this is then where the deeper stuff comes in. Without the willingness for deeper self discovery, and then ultimately also self healing, we never get to this place where we realize, oh, wait a minute. I'm not just here for no reason. I'm here because of all these choices in the past. What is it then what I had been energizing in the past with all my thoughts and my emotions and my actions and my dreams and so forth? And what am I still energizing? Not to say that we sometimes can't be victims of our circumstances, guys. I'm not minimizing curveballs that life throws at us. They happen to all of us. But in my experience as an energy coach, they happen to us due to high levels of incongruence. The worst part about this is that a lot of that comes through our minds. And due to the self deceptive nature of our minds, we are completely naive. We get caught in our own projections. It isn't until we're forced to let go of them that we realize what it's truly about. And this is the difference between an active self healer and a conscious self and someone who's unconscious. Someone who's conscious cultivates that, along with challenging your ego, your comfort zone, challenging your thoughts, your perceptions, your beliefs, and all that. What most people do instead is questioning themselves all the time. Do not question yourself. Yourself is sacred. Question your perception, your thoughts, your beliefs, your mindset, your interpretations, and even your physical sensations. You can question all those, but not yourself. So this is the bridge here for the forecast for December 2020, a truly remarkable month that many of us will remember. No worries, I'm not going to go into doom and gloom here. The reason why we will remember this is because it will truly feel like a reset, the big reset. Okay, the reason why I chose this word is because it is a buzzword right now. And even if you have not come across it yet, you will. It's a word that has already been existing for 3-4 years in economic cycles. There's books written about it that predict a huge economic shift. And this is happening now. December is the rollout date. And so the big themes here for December, besides, all of us feeling this reset energy inside of ourselves, and some of us might be forced to reset our views, our lives, our circumstances, and some of us choose to do this. But besides all that, we will be shown the big themes for the next 20 years. So this December 2020 is basically it's the rollout date for huge changes in our society. So not as much individually, but as such, really impacting for our individual lives because these changes are bigger than us. It's the quantum future that we are looking at. And I wanted to investigate with you here real quick what this truly means. Okay, what does quantum mean? Well, quantum means something in techno language. All right, it's a new form of computing. It's the putting all the intelligence of all the computers out there together, kind of like a cloud working together on one problem. So kind of like the next generation of internet. Quantum in regards to our reality and the physical paradigm that we live in. Quantum mechanics functions on similar uh, paradigm or a similar understanding, namely the understanding that everything is connected and that there is also a higher sort of multitude of realities, including past, present, future. You can look at past, present, future as one example or a version of these multiple realities or dimensions, that they all exist simultaneously and that they ultimately, like a cloud. Okay, so quantum mechanics basically says that reality can be both. It can be solid and it can be a wave. In other words, yes, there's a solidity to what we are experiencing here in our 3D experience due to the limitation of our senses. Our five senses are bound to 3D. That is our five senses only, okay? The sixth and seventh and eighth sense and whatnot that we all have is not so much bound to 3D anymore, and therefore uh, the number of people who are out here in this world who can confirm that there are something like simultaneous realities or dimensions grows with the day. And if you were listening to this forecast right now because you appreciate my rendering of the world or the way that the world of energies, then you are probably already aware of this. So quantum means nothing but a different way of interacting and a different level, a different dimension of connectivity. And this is now basically what we are entering here. This will have a huge effect on our societies, but especially in our technological developments and also our economy. So this is where we will first see this, and this is beginning in December. Keywords such as artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and quantum computing, as well as the cryptocurrencies and so forth, are all part of this new sort of quantum technology that are coming our way right now. And when I said it's ready to roll out or it's going to be rolled out, I am obviously coming from a point of view where it's already been there, okay, for quite a while. And especially in regards to cryptocurrencies, you all know this. I've been reporting about this in depth for 4 years now and predicted this, all right, that this is coming and it is coming now. What does this mean? It means that we are looking at a new industrial revolution here that brings in blockchain technology and other new technologies that come with it, so nanotechnology and so forth, in all these different areas of science will transform the way we transact, interact, how we pay for things, how we buy things, and so forth. This is not a prediction, guys. This is already there. And 2020 has been the practice year for all of this, all right? So something that was hard to imagine at the beginning of 2020 is now reality. Who would have thought that we would work remotely, that we would, get our groceries to our doorstep, that we would do all our online shopping, all of it really through our phones. And obviously, with COVID in the game, we have also recognized now that there are aspects here in regards to this globalization and collectively sort of being more connected through internet and social media and traveling and um, resource sharing and so forth, that there's also a need to keep track of it. So the traceability of things has become very much aware to us here in the face of the pandemic. And yet it's not quite materialized yet. So these things are all in store here for December and the next 20 years. So December energies are really a preface, of a book, of the new book of our societies, okay, our social lives, no matter what country we're in. And some of the dominating subjects here uh, will be, I will go deeper into this when I do the forecast for the whole year 21, but will be things that have to do with relocation, repositioning, um, really new inventions, new social structures, socialism. We need to discuss this, what this even means, resource sharing, but also the continued big divide, global tracing of things. And of course, social justice as well as government control. And I can tell you that uh, December is going to be a month that will bring a new component of social justice into our awareness, namely gender inequality. And this is something that has always been very close to my heart. I come from a country where equal pay is anchored in the constitution of my country, guys. And that's a whole different reality, okay, where I'm from, along with many other aspects of gender equality. But equal pay, at the end of the day, is really what gives our societies the color it has. And with all the statistics and all the research that is currently being done during COVID, it becomes very apparent now that the hit that our economies took, that this isn't distributed equally. It hits women more than men, and not just by a little bit, by massive amounts. And it starts with school closings, okay, and ends with being let go of your job. All right, it hits women first. And that's something that will become very apparent in December. So, with all the unrest and all the divide that we're already feeling, this will become another topic here on top of, the future of our planet and climate change and political transitions and so forth. All right. So, be aware that from an energetic point of view, quantum is not neither good nor bad. In fact, it is actually more realistic. It's more how those of us who can tap into energies see our world and the people in it. We see ourselves sort of as this cloud, as this frequency, as this constantly fluctuating energy, and the problems that are occurring here in our personal lives is that we are not really feeling it yet, with the exception of those who are energetically sensitive. But more and more people, even those who don't call themselves energetically sensitive, will feel and sense that something ain't right, that truth isn't there, or that it's compromised somehow. All right, and so the first really big theme for December, and that's why I chose to call the month December the test of courage, is that we realize we have to intentionally and consciously choose. We have to choose to act in a certain way. We have to choose who we want to be. We have to be self driven, self motivated, self responsible. We have to learn how to act independently, away from the sheep herd mentality. All right. So one of these big topics that are coming up in December that are going to show this to us clearly is the topic of vaccines. We're going to have to actively choose if we want to be vaccinated or not. And in some of your countries, you have more freedom than in other countries to choose this. So that has to do with our outer conditions. But all this is ready to be shipped off, guys, and it's stripping us of our freedom, to decide for us. And that's why it's such a test of courage, because we have to claim, we have to invoke our freedom, we have to stand up for our freedom. So that is the big theme in regards to this testing that we are experiencing, because our outer conditions are now that we are sort of more realistic about what is going on here with the economy, with COVID, and the money situation and the long-term consequences of this. We have to realize that right now, this outer condition is anti-consciousness, it's anti-freedom, it's anti-authenticity, anti-connectivity. But at the same time, our technology is moving into becoming more connective and becoming more augmented. And that's then the second big theme for December and the next 3 to 20 years, namely this energy of bifurcation. So as people are making a choice, conscious or unconscious, all right, ideally conscious, they will split. They already are. We already discussed the big divide here, right? The big divide is already here, but it's mostly unconscious to people. But what is going to happen through this test of courage and being forced to make a choice is that people will literally split into two realities. One part of the reality or part of the society will opt for the augmented reality through technology and through all the things that we're being sold to as the saving grace, or as the thing that is going to rescue us from the hardships of this life. It's basically the choice, of opting out of reality and wanting something that is more enhanced, augmented. That's what augmented reality really means. So all the way to virtual. So this is why you hear people talk so much about virtual reality and the versions of reality, dimensions of reality. Okay, so as we are growing into our conscious selves here, we are also recognizing that there are different versions of reality. They're just not different versions of truth. Okay, so that's a part of our training and our awareness making and our higher learning, that we recognize that within ourselves, that truth is actually unchanging, but our reality depends on our perception and our energetic states. So if we want to change our reality, we have to change our energy about it. And that's ultimately sort of on our personal level what this quantum future brings. The word energy will be prevalent in everything now. And it's never been, easier than today, all right, to be an energy worker, an energy healer. Okay, now than ever, people are becoming aware of this sort of cloud that we are in, not as in fog, but as in, like that we're somehow all connected. Okay, but this bifurcation will not quite lead to this true connectedness and true unification, will lead to a split. We'll have this one part of the population who will fall for the mind control and the fear conditioning, and who will beg really for, this augmented reality and all the technologies that come with it, including blockchain, by the way, because it promises to solve certain issues around traceability, around money transfer, and so forth, which are great. Okay. While so many of these technologies are originally and developed to increase our freedom, they end up being misused to increase our comfort, but not necessarily our freedom. And then the more dependent we become on them, the more unfree they make ourselves. So we have to become aware of it. And that's the other part of the population that is aware of it, not necessarily anti, but aware of the mind control that is behind it, the agenda, the alternative agenda that is behind it, with all the media war and the war of perception that is going on, which is very, very strong right now. So this second theme, bifurcation, where we split into these two experiences of reality, one heavily under the influence of mind control, and the other part of the population trying to find their own version of reality. And this is then in a bigger context, ultimately the task that we all really have to um, go through karmically here as a collective is to find the balance between this augmented reality and our inner reality, and to consciously choose what it is that we are co-creating, what it is that we are manifesting through our choices. So eventually we're going to have to learn to grow these two bifurcated realities together. That's the ultimate goal. That's ultimately the the power of our consciousness, the synergy and the syntropy of consciousness that will, unsplit it again. But right now, we, and this is then the third big theme, feel a strong impulse for healing our inner fragmentation, for healing um, this this dualism. Okay, so that's the smaller version, in the more personal version of this bifurcation within ourselves, the schisms within ourselves. And this is going to be a beautiful impulse for many, because it's not only something that you have been feeling all along, but it also brings in direct results. So as scary as December may sound right now, it also brings in a extremely high potentiality for healing and for trusting in this inner impulse of our higher consciousness, and recognizing that the tools and the solutions, that they're already in us. We just have to consciously choose it. We have to consciously invoke it. We have to claim our sacred self. We have to choose to inhabit it, to explore it, and to embody it. And that's then what allows us to inoculate ourselves from all these outer conditions and mind control. And I mean, to a certain degree, these changes in our societies will affect all of us. We're not going to be able to inoculate ourselves from it. But then again, who would have thought 10 years ago that smartphones will be sort of the device of the devil here? We all wanted a cell phone. It brought in more comfort in our lives. So don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that everything that's coming from technology is bad. All I'm saying is that, with it comes a lot of mind control, and to be able to discern truth and to pierce through that, the fear, the collective fear conditioning here through the pandemic, or this constant sort of inadequacy thinking, not good enough, not fast enough, not functioning well enough, okay, not pretty enough, and constantly feeling lack, constantly seeking something, constantly thinking that we have to be right, we have to convince people, righteousness, we have to be on the winning side, or we need to maintain our comfort zone, our status quo, or what do the neighbors think, or what do my parents think, and so forth. All this programming, this matrix programming that we have been exposed to and will continue to exposed to, all right, is starting to take a real toll in us. And that's why these developments are happening with such a fast pace, that our lives have become so complex now that we have no way of even reflecting on it anymore, because we're so scatterbrained, this ADHD version of reality, how we experience our life, that doesn't even allow us, to say, wait a minute, do I really want this? How does this feel like? What does this mean to me on the inside? Is this really true to me? Is this representing my integrity? And so we have to consciously invoke that. We have to consciously choose to self-heal and to set on this path of self-discovery through higher learning and deeper self-reflection. Only so can we really link into the quantum power, if you will, of freedom, of truth and love, the pillars of our life force. It requires us to learn and to cultivate through this inner experience of our higher self from within ourselves. Only then can we realize or actualize what it means to come up with higher vibratory solutions and to feel true fulfillment and inner peace by knowing what we came here for. We came here in this non-physical form to experience this physical form with a promise to bring our true self or higher self or soul self into the best expression possible, to embody our higher self as best as we can in this lifetime. And every time we make choices that move us towards that bring in the remembrance of that fill us with a future awareness where we go into active communication with our future self, okay, our higher self. That's when we can feel it. That's when we can have this reference feeling of peace, purpose, fulfillment, love, truth, authenticity, no matter what you want to name it. But in order to do this, we need freedom. And for freedom, we will have to fight from now on. Because our outer conditions are anti-freedom. And it's useless to ponder about who and why and all that. There are multiple videos that I've published here on YouTube about dark and light forces and the bigger picture of things. Okay, so do this for your own understanding and entertainment, perhaps, but don't expect a simple answer. All right, that's your ego that wants to externalize a problem. We are all part of the problem. We're all here and we're all in this. Nothing really happened without us agreeing to it to a certain degree. And yes, this is the truth. And we don't like that truth. And that's why we avoid feeling into truth. That's the seduction. That's the temptation. That's the test. So standing in truth requires a lot of courage. And you're going to feel this impulse in December. And you're going to, if you follow this impulse, you're going to do probably the most important thing that you have done in this lifetime, namely standing up for your own truth. And watch what happens. Others are not going to like it. And why is that? Because of this herd sheep mentality. Because it reminds them of their own fallibility. It reminds them deep down of that impulse within themselves that they are denying or withholding from themselves. It reminds them of their own inauthenticity. And so they have to suffocate this. They will not be supportive. So on this internal level of how we're going to perceive this, many of us will feel unsupported in December. And that Two will be a blessing in disguise. Because what it will remind you is where you can find the only support that truly matters. Namely, the support from within yourself that you are on the right path, that you are doing what matters to you. It's the sacredness of yourself that is triggered. When you stand up for yourself, you'll remember it again. And you'll also remember that you're a soul with a body and not a body with a soul, because this is what this whole pandemic talk and collective fear conditioning does to us. We forget that we're souls. We suddenly see ourselves just as flesh bags, all right? The have no other value than just sort of metabolizing air or metabolizing carbon on this planet. That is not true. We are a soul with a consciousness, and we need to be reminded of this. And most of you have this awareness. You just need to follow the impulse and allow this remembrance to be so strong that you find the courage to let go of all your false self cycles, patterns, and ego beliefs, okay, including where all this originated in the wounded part of yourself. So yes, December is going to come with a lot of humbleness and sincerity, and it's going to test our courage, but as such it will lead us to truth, it will lead us to freedom and to love within ourselves. It's a huge opportunity. And those of you who are not afraid of the spiritual talk, guys, how does this happen? People always ask me, well, what can I do? Okay, you can start with your own life. You can start with becoming more grateful for what you have and let go of constantly seeking and criticizing and judging and comparing. Bless what you have. Bless your food. Bless your family. Bless your home. Bless yourself. And when you can feel what this means, you're not only absolving yourself, you're also sanctifying your own life, your own journey. And this is then the ultimate embodiment. You're sanctifying your life. And you can only do this if you stand in truth, in love, and in freedom. So December is the month where we will realize that we need to protect our freedom, because out of freedom comes truth. Without no freedom, there is no truth. And you can see this in the media war that we have. There's no freedom in media, and that's why there is no truth. And out of truth and freedom comes love. There is no love without the freedom and the truth of love. So we got to understand that all these things that truly matter to us, that they come out of this conscious choice. The choice to be ourselves, choosing our own soul, choosing our own soul selves, choosing ourselves. And the big challenge here for all of us is that we will feel let down, we'll feel lonely, and we'll run into danger of letting ourselves down through our inauthenticities, our false self projections, self deception of our ego mind. And we'll be confronted with our shadow aspects big time, guys. So you're going to experience your power and the shadow side of that simultaneously. It's very, very revealing. The whole month of December is one continual learning, guys, one continual experience of that, of your own inner duality. And it's going to show you your dependencies and also your addictions, not just to substances, the little things here and there, the likes on Facebook, or the validation through others or whatnot. The more you externalize your identity towards it, the more you give up the power to choose. That's what externalization means. You have to stay on your toes, what you energize with your choices. Because what you energize is what you manifest. In other words, you give your powers away if you are not aware of what you're energizing. So again, here, this is linked to our deeper self discovery and self healing journey. We got to become a little more aware of why we're doing things, what drives us, and what we identify with, and perhaps also where all these distortions of self perception, where they lie, or we're lying to ourselves. Yeah, so don't be afraid of these energies. They're going to be extremely intense. Yes, so December is a high energy month. I would lie to you if I didn't prepare you for this, but there's no need for this paranoia of external energies, okay? And just because collective energies are like that doesn't mean that you're a victim of it. It just means that, yeah, it's like a storm, okay? It's like weather. Okay, so sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's windy, sometimes it's rainy, sometimes it's cloudy. Okay, December is going to be very stormy. All right. And yes, there's going to be a lot of anger and a lot of projections flying around. People are becoming aware of their powerlessness and they're going to get angry about it, including the social injustices, but more so in regards to this gender inequality, because we have a very, very strong rising of feminine healing energies in December. So anyone with an unresolved, unprocessed relationship with the feminine, okay, with feminine energies within themselves, which includes our mother energies, will get pulled into these projections and into these attachments. And many of us will get pulled into our own sort of narcissism of survival, the selfishness and the self-centeredness of our own suffering. So we've got to be prepared for this. The best way to prepare ourselves, I mean, all year was a good preparation, but understand this now, why I've been talking about self-healing in this way over the last year, really more than a year now, needing to become a more active thing. These higher energies, these higher vibratory energies that are coming in now for this next decade, these next 20 years, okay, they are forcing us to vibrate on a higher level. And this includes our bodies. And our bodies, therefore, need to become cleaner. They need to become pure. They need to become more self sufficient. Self healing is not some buzzword, it's not some cool thing, it's not a fad. Self healing means really tuning into your body, tuning into your needs, being very pragmatic about what it is that you need, and acting on it, making it a conscious choice. And there's many levels of this, be it in regards to our diet, be it in regards to our exercise routines, be it in regards to other pragmatic things in our 3D reality, such as the people that we surround ourselves with, such as the places that we where we go frequently, and so forth. Many, many different aspects that we often discuss here in the Sacred Self Healing community, in our daily meditations, or in energy coaching sessions. It's more complex than you think, and yet at the end of the day, you'll find it's more simple than you think. It doesn't have to be that complex. You just got to remember what's essential to you. So, a way through the storm is to have a good roadmap, to have a good awareness for the future, for your sacred self, and to, I called it consciously invoking earlier, to set the seed, to consciously start this new future. Go with it, don't resist it. It's already been coming in since November. It's a new realism to a degree, but don't resist it. Allow yourself to reinvent yourself It's a recalibration, a rewiring on the deepest level, including our bodies, including our emotional processing, including perception and the dynamics of mind control, or the mental deception that we have, our mind's self-deception, our social structures, values, our financial structures. Yes, the crypto dollar is going to come, guys. And yes, contact tracing is going to come. And yes, a new paradigm of bookkeeping, of transacting is going to come. I've been predicting this for many years. It's ready to be rolled out, but also a new level of spiritual awareness, a new level of feeling and consciously embodying this divine trifecta, love, freedom, truth, the Trinity, and especially in regards to bringing in feminine energies back into this Trinity. This is what December is, and therefore we're gonna, feel somewhat schismatic energetically, okay? Because we're gonna be able to tune into both sides of ourselves. All right, so we've got to understand that energetically, the biggest task is to become a better energy manager, and we become a good energy manager and self-master through truth, through recognizing our true needs, our true feelings, sensations, all this truth training that we do here, and really allowing ourselves to feel and think at the same time. That needs to be trained. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of work. But it's extremely rewarding because we recognize that we can choose. We cannot always choose the obstacles in our lives, okay, but we can choose if we want to suffer from it or not, because suffering is energizing a pain, okay? So we can't always avoid pain, but we can choose if we want to energize it. And that's then the power of consciousness that teaches you that. So seeding the new us can mean a lot for you guys, a lot of different things. Start projects, see yourselves more as a collective individual, all right? And going into this quantum you means to really connect on this more true level with other people. Start a discussion group, a meditation group. All this can be done online. You see it every day, everywhere. Start an organization that supports others, or that provides something for others, whatever it is that helps you to feel your higher self, and that makes you become, or gets you closer to fulfilling this promise to your higher self. And the way this feels is inner peace. So inner peace is a choice, and with it all the manifestations that come with it. Just real quick, a few dates here for you. I know your ego minds want to anticipate these things. We have massive, massive planetary things going on here in December, so that's why it doesn't really take a crystal ball to see that there are huge changes ahead. Besides some of the more intricate astrological constellations that I'm not familiar with, but I can tell you from an energetic point of view, definitely the solar eclipse around the 13th, 14th, depending on where you live on the planet, the new moon energies that come simultaneously with this, so the middle of the month, and then later the winter solstice on the 21st of December, the actual new begin of the new year, the beginning of the new year, and also right around Christmas time, as well as the very last couple of days in December around the full moon time. They will be extremely challenging for all of us, and it's a constant testing, a constant learning, a constant sort of awareness making, or things coming forward to you that show you what these dualisms, what these schisms within you truly are, and how to work with them. So the first half of the month, the first 10 days, really good healing weeks. Middle of the month, challenging. 17th of December can come with things such as earthquakes, uh, lots of things, guys. There's so much going on. We don't have enough time. There's political stuff going on. Trump isn't gone, guys. So for those of you here in the United States, there's a huge sort of underground movement that is forming around this, and this is nowhere near its end. The musical chairs that I predicted, they will last way into the end of this January. Okay, and then these days around the winter solstice are very, very challenging in regards to really recognizing what this choice is that we need to make, and what this healing is, this healing impulse. So I would recommend all of you to take a lot of time to go into this reflection there. Use this time for transmissions, meditations, and so forth. Here is the calendar for December. You can tell we're really going into the deep end of things here. For you guys, the green events are free, so those are public events here at transCODES, and then these other events are paid events, some of which are for the Sacred Self-Healing Experience members. It's not so expensive to be a member there and to participate in this. It helps us to deal with things as we go. All right, and two, it's the very end of the year, so the 30th and the 31st, guys. Yeah, there is unrest, there is violence, there is attacks. Okay, it's not going to be nice, and probably triggered by the vaccines that are being rolled out, because it forces us to make a choice. That's just one layer of that. But vaccines are going to be a huge, big topic in December, and with it, these other big themes here. Okay. So yes, guys, so much to talk about. We'll have lots of opportunity in sessions, in daily meditations with me or the other wonderful facilitators here in energy sessions or online meditations to discuss this. One little goodie that I have, and you know this about me, I've done this many years, is a special for December, and that is, instead of celebrating 10 days of Christmas, I am going to celebrate with you guys 10 days of Sacred Self. That is a daily 30-minute event on YouTube and Facebook. So it's public and it's free for everyone at 12 p.m. Eastern US time every day, reflecting on the day, reflecting on the choice that needs to be made, and realigning, recalibrating our energy to it. Please share this with others, guys. It's such a wonderful thing, even if it's just for 30 minutes a day, to tap into this. And don't be afraid. I'm not going to talk about angels and demons. All right. It's going to be very down to earth and really for everyone. So please share this with friends and family. Maybe come with friends and family on your phones, simply by tuning in to your, channel. That there's a sign up link for this already, and you're going to get sent the access links, and if you want to, the recordings as well. Yes, so lots of going on, guys, lots of work ahead, lots of choices to be made, lots of awareness to be internalized and to be felt. I am wishing you a wonderful December, a wonderful new beginning for all of you. Take this high energy and do something with it. It's a direct call for action. This is going to be it. All right? It's going to happen. And it will be very important for you to develop something like a roadmap, something like a strategy for your future, because otherwise you'll feel like life is just going to happen to you. So I'll be here to support you in this in many different ways through all the different services that I offer, but I will be ever present and accompany you through this time. So you will not be alone, guys. Most of these services will be for free. So support is right there. And maybe you have a friend, maybe you have a family member, maybe you have a stranger who is offering you this support, even if it's just through empathy. And maybe you want to offer this to others as well. Holidays are not just about giving, it's more about connecting and love, if anything. It's the mutual exchange of energy. So, with this, I would like to close the forecast and discussion for December. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting transCODES throughout all these years. It's exciting. I'm very, very busy, but also very, very energized and excited. So thank you for being there for me, and letting me know that it's worth it, giving me the reason for fulfilling the promise to my higher self. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye bye.